January 23rd, 2010, Abby Sunderland set sail on Wild Eyes, an open 40 racing boat from Marina del Rey, California. The year before, her 17-year-old brother Zach had sailed 27,500 nautical miles in 13 months to become the world's youngest solo circumnavigator. 1 month later, his record was broken by a Brit, Mike Perham, who was 2 months younger. But the dream that was birthed when Abby was just 13 years old was reignited. I prayed for this young lady, and so it is extra special to be seeing her in person and revisiting some of your adventure. Welcome.
Thanks.
This is something that, well, you decided you wanted to be a history maker from a very early age.
Yeah, I was just 13 when I first kind of got the idea that I wanted to sail around the world.
And why sailing?
I grew up sailing. My whole family, we lived on boats, and so it really fit well. You know, I started soloing when I was 13 and just loved it. And you know, the more I did it, the more I loved it, and the bigger ideas I got, and the better I got at it. And
your dad's a sailing instructor.
Yeah, he's a shipwright. He does everything to do with boats. So.
And you won't remember this, but I read that from about 6 months of age, you felt safer on a boat than anywhere else.
Yeah, I think 6 months old was the first boat I lived on. I don't remember that one, but you know, it kind of gives you an idea of how much my family's involved with sailing.
Now talk about this qualification, the rules. To have this kind of record, you have to sail alone, unassisted, and you're not allowed to land anywhere. You have to stay out on the ocean.
Yeah, well there's a bunch of different rule or records and things like that you can go for, but the specific one that I was going for was solo, nonstop, and unassisted. So you can't have any outside assistance, you can't stop. I mean, it was an attempt, so if things did break down or something like that, I would pull in, or if there was bad weather that I needed to avoid, I would pull in, as I ended up doing, but I was going for it nonstop.
Now my first puzzlement is that you describe yourself as a shy, quiet homeschooler. Where did this bravado come from?
I don't know. Well, I guess taking the task I was about to take on, you'd expect me to be kind of outgoing, but my whole life I'd been kind of quiet and shy, and I mean, I don't know. It's just because I grew up with it. I think it was kind of my comfort zone out on the ocean alone. And it seems kind of funny to a lot of people because not too many people are that into sailing, but for me that was my happy spot.
In your experience with the sport, had you had some scary, risky, life-threatening experiences?
Yeah,
Did
definitely.
you know how dangerous this could be?
Yeah, well, originally I was 13. I told my parents, hey, I want to sail around the world, and they weren't all that happy about that. So they of course just said, yeah, we'll think about it. And then they kind of put me in situations, they have me out on the water when it was rough. They were trying to convince me that, I didn't really want to sail around the world. So I went through some pretty gnarly stuff, and I really had to prove myself to my parents before they eventually came on board with the whole idea.
You are the second of now 8 children. At the time, second of 7. Your mom was very expecting.
Yeah.
For a new baby brother. Let's look at some pictures to see what we're talking about, and then I want to get down to some nitty-gritty on what this was really like out there in more than one ocean. Let's go to some photos. Okay, now that's you in the foreground. What are we seeing here?
That's the first time while I first got over onto the West Coast. It's Ensenada. We're just down there to pick her up.
Is that your boat on the hoist?
Yeah, that's
Wild
Eyes
Eyes.
there. Yeah, that was probably one of the most exciting days, the first time she was gonna touch the water here.
You're working on something.
Yeah, just not sure what I'm doing there, but
It's like drilling.
that was actually from over on the East Coast. We worked on the boat the whole way.
You're out at sea here. Is this from the adventure?
Yeah, this is on the equator. Not too long after I left, maybe a couple of weeks. It was boiling hot there.
How about this one?
That one's just out of Cape Town. Yeah, that one's also out of Cape Town.
Now this becomes significant. Cape Horn, the Everest of sailing.
Yeah.
Sir Francis Drake lost 3 ships going around that horn,
Yeah.
half of his fleet.
It's definitely some gnarly weather down there.
It's notorious for turbulent water.
Yeah.
And you too encountered some challenges there. You had some equipment failure, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, for the most part with weather, I had an easy time going around Cape Horn. I had a really good weather router that got me around at just the right time. But the night before I rounded Cape Horn, both my autopilots failed. And I spent, you know, good 10 hours all through the night in this, you know, on my back in this tiny little icy cold compartment. And I had a flashlight in my teeth and was using this nail file as a makeshift jeweler's screwdriver, you know, rewiring autopilots. And, you know, on the phone with my team, I had autopilot schematics scribbled up my arm in Sharpie. It was a rough night. It was a little bit crazy, but I got things working and headed on to Cape Horn.
Now, this is the crisis that was compared to the Apollo 13 mission repair, because you just were getting instructions from the team on the ground and using whatever you could find to try and get things back in action.
Yeah, the guys at home ended up, you know, calling these little incidents Apollo 13 moments, because really I was trying to piece together equipment, you know, off of explaining things to them and going back and forth and just finding whatever I could on the boat to fix these things. And, you know, it's a little bit terrifying sometimes, but exciting.
You had constant contact. Tell us about your communication while you're out at sea.
With modern technology, I was able to call home. I was able to get daily weather forecasts and emails. I wasn't like I could call up and just have an hour-long conversation. Phone calls were kind of like, hey, Mom, I'm fine. This is my position. This is what the weather's like. But, you know, having that communication, just being able to call someone and, you know, let them know that you're fine is really a great thing.
Your dad made a trip to try and catch you coming around that horn on video.
Yeah.
That didn't work just the way everybody hoped.
Yeah, well, due to, you know, the night of just being tossed around, not going anywhere, and working on the autopilots, we didn't run into each other at the right time, so didn't get to see him. But, you know, the fact that he traveled all the way down there to see me was pretty cool.
Wow. I was intrigued that when you left, we better say that you had to stop here. You did have to come ashore.
Yeah. 3 months into my trip, I had to pull into Cape Town, South Africa for more repairs.
And a great burger.
They make good burgers there. Looking for a good burger, go there.
What did you eat on board?
Mountain House dehydrated food. They sponsored me with 6 months worth of their food, and it was the perfect stuff. It's really lightweight, so it's good for being on a race boat, and, you know, easy to make, and it was really perfect fit for my trip and my boat and everything.